All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's time for panel number one. Jonathan Tobin, senior editor for Commentary Magazine, commentarymagazine.com, and Christopher Hahn, Democratic strategist and syndicated radio host. Check him out at ChristopherHahn.com. All right, gentlemen, some breaking news today. Jonathan Pollard, after 30 years in prison as an Israeli spy, and plea after plea after plea for years to have him released, by the Israeli government, by the American Jewish community, etc. He will be paroled in November. And Jonathan, I've never been on that bandwagon, like, oh, we got to get Jonathan Pollard out, because to me, I don't care who you were spying for. You spied against the U.S. To me, you're a spy. So I never really cared that much. But is this some kind of token gesture on the part of the Obama administration?
Well, it was leaked initially last Friday to the Wall Street Journal. So it was assumed that they were trying to make it appear so. I think there are a couple of things we have to remember about the Pollard case. Number one, you're absolutely right. He spied. He did something wrong. He and his Israeli handlers 30 years ago did grave damage to the U.S.-Israel relationship and to American Jews, the loyal American Jews who work in the Defense Department. But it's also true that his sentence was disproportionate. No spy for a friendly country has ever been treated so harshly or served so long in jail. So it's appropriate that after 30 years to let him go. But this should in no way influence the debate about Iran and the Iran deal, which should fall on its own merits. And throwing a bone to the Israelis after all this time about this shouldn't influence anybody's opinion.
Christopher, how do you view the parole?
Well, I think it's definitely part of the deal, right? I think it's part of our negotiation with Israel to see what they want in exchange for. I don't think they'll ever support the deal, but maybe toning down their rhetoric on the deal. So, look, I mean, it is what it is at this point. He was a spy. He was treated like a spy. 30 years is probably long enough. So we're giving something without really giving something.
All right, let me go to the Iran deal again. Kerry testifying before Congress today, and there was a report today out that that part of the deal is to suspected nuclear sites, Iran gets to pick and hand over the soil from those sites to inspectors to be inspected. Now, I don't know if they have 24 days or 26 days to do that, but allowing Iran to scoop up a bag of soil and hand it over and say, oh, here's the soil from the site. I mean, Christopher, could this get any more insane?
I don't think that's the only way there. I think there are, I believe the Secretary of Energy when he says that we have very sophisticated ways to tell if they've been cheating. And I think that we will do everything we can to make sure that they
Kerry, I don't believe any of them. I think they lie like they breathe, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think the Iranians have been playing the United States for suckers throughout this process. It's true we have sophisticated ways of trying to find out these things. It's true that uranium is not like flushing the drugs down the toilet. But the fact is, if they're setting up this deal in this way, it is designed to let Iran do what it wants. This deal, the Kerry and Obama wanted a deal at any cost, at any price, and that's what they've gotten. And this deal will not, as even many liberals, Leon Wieseltier of all people, wrote in The Atlantic yesterday, this deal does not do what it sets out to do. It does not stop Iran from getting a bomb. It only doesn't even really limit them in the long run. And it's a bad deal on any terms. And throwing in Pollard doesn't influence this at all.
Let's move on to Trump and this insane story from the, I guess it was the Daily Beast, if I'm not mistaken, that Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's former wife, used the rape word in divorce proceedings or whatever. Long time ago, she said she did not mean it as a criminal act of rape. She now says, and has said for quite some time, they're the best of friends. She's supporting him for president. It's a non-story. And it just boggles my mind, because this is the way it is, Christopher, and you have to admit this. We had a president of the United States named Bill Clinton who was accused of rape while he was president, that when he was Attorney General of Arkansas, he raped Juanita Broderick. She came forward. NBC News' Lisa Myers interviewed her for hours, and everything from the scheduling of where the then Attorney General was all those years ago, everything checked out. And you know how many questions Bill Clinton got about the rape accusations? One from Sam Donaldson. And he skidded around it and skidded around it and finally said, you have to ask my lawyer about that. And here we get, you know, Donald Trump now with this connected to rape. Why don't they ask Hillary about the Juanita Broderick?
Well, asking Hillary wouldn't be comparative. But
oh, yes,
yeah,
it would.
It's wrong. No, it wouldn't. It would be, you know, it's wrong. I mean, look, there's a lot of reasons not to like Donald Trump. I don't think this is one of them.
All right, Jonathan?
Well, in a sense, you're absolutely right. It's a double standard. But two things about that. Number one, welcome to the big leagues. Trump has gotten scrutiny as a celebrity up until now, and it's a very different dynamic. And that's why those who assume that the current bump in the polls for Trump will last may not be right, because you get different kinds of scrutiny. You are, you know, and the fact is, you know, do Republicans really want the Bill Clinton standard to apply to their nominee? That's something for individual Republicans to decide. I agree this isn't a reason not to vote for him. There are other ones that I think are far more persuasive, but let's just also remember that Trump has a ton of baggage. This is just the start of all sorts of stuff that can come out about him.
A ton of baggage.
Briefly, Christopher, briefly, 10 seconds.
He's got a ton of baggage, and it's all made in China, and we've got to look into all of it.
All right, made in China. Very funny. All right, guys, we didn't have time to talk about how Hillary should have done what Tom Brady did and throw away her whole phone. Coming up next, thanks, guys, is the former governor of Virginia. Don't go away.